All right. So, question for you, Tommy, is if I do hire you as a business owner and you're going to do some marketing for me, where is it that you are spending your dollars or my dollars to create a return on investment?
Yeah, it's a great question. We are, as a company, we're not exempt from needing to market ourselves, so we've had conversations about, okay, where are we going to get the most visibility? What's the most important thing for us as we're, moving forward? And so that sort of same strategy, I think, would then need to be applied to whoever we're working with. Let's make sure that you're getting the most bang out of your buck. Some of the areas that we're seeing, I mentioned social media before, and, when it's done correctly and when it's done on a long-term sustainable campaign, that can be really powerful. You can get in front of a lot of eyeballs, because people are on social media all day, right? And so, I didn't mention this in the presentation, but one of my biggest philosophies just in media in general for my entire career has always been, you can't expect customers to come to you if you're not willing to go to them. And increasingly, they're on social media. So if you can do that the right way, these platforms, they want your money, they want your advertising dollars, just like a television or radio station would. So you're going to have to invest in it, but that's a great way to get a ton of visibility. And it does take a little bit of time to figure out, but it can be really powerful. The other place is on some national websites and national apps that people are using a lot of, especially right now during these uncertain times. So I'm thinking of things like CNN.com or the CNN app or New York Times, or some of these news resources that are national in nature. A lot of people don't realize that the advertising that you see, even though it's a national website or a national app, a lot of times the advertising is local. So what I see in Wichita could be completely different than what somebody in Wisconsin sees. So that's all sold at the local level. So you can really get a ton of eyeballs on your content on some really popular websites and apps that are providing a ton of great resources during this time.
Awesome. So, how do you track as a company my ROI? How do I know that I am getting some traction and this is an effective strategy?
Yeah, that's the most important question out of all of them, right? Because essentially, when it comes to marketing, you have to view it as an investment, and it has to get you from, step one all the way to the very end. And that very end is the return. It's the conversion. It's the dollars in the pocket of the business. And, I've been in media for a long time. I spent 10 years in radio. And I don't know how many times a client would come to me in radio and say, "Hey, how many people heard my commercial?" And I would have to say, I have no idea. I can't tell you that. There's no way to track that. I can tell you my radio station is popular, but I can't tell you exactly how many times people heard your commercial. And then more importantly, I for sure can't tell you how many people spent money with your business because they heard the commercial on my radio station. So with digital, everything is trackable. Everything is. And so when I was getting into this industry and I found that out, I found out that we can track who is putting eyes and ears on these ads. And then from there, who is actually becoming a customer of the business. That was a game changer to me. And I think that's a game changer for the entire industry. That's been the biggest challenge in marketing since day one is how do you prove that it's effective? How do you prove that it's working? Digital advertising right now is the primary source of marketing that is provable. And that should mean so much to the business who's investing in that. So we're able to look at, all right, who is looking at the ads? Who's clicking on the ads? What are they doing when they click on them? Are they going back to your website? Are they filling out a form? Are they picking up the phone and calling a number? Are they shopping at your online store? What are they doing? Then from there, there's even products out there that we have access to and some other people nationally have access to where you're actually able to track in-store visits, which is really important for brick and mortar stores. So we can say, hey, look, these number of people, they saw the ad and then their GPS on their phone tracked them into the store. It showed that they were shopping in the store because they saw the ad. And, from there, I mean, it's obviously then up to the store to close a sale. But it becomes truly powerful and truly effective especially in times like these, if you're a business and you have money that you want to spend in marketing, you should absolutely want to put your money into something that you know without a shadow of a doubt can be proved. That's more important than just throwing money at different forms of marketing and hoping that it works.
And I can imagine in these times, with how many eyes are on a screen in some form or fashion, that those marketing dollars will be amplified just because of the circumstance that we're in, which makes even more sense to take advantage in a positive way to get your message out and to
Yes.
show the good, the PR that you talked about earlier. In these times, if you're doing those things, which we all should at some level, uh, be putting it out there and getting more eyes on it. And I know we haven't seen the effect of that yet at this moment, but like you had mentioned earlier, those that did in past times of crisis or recession, it was only good. It only
Yeah.
proved to be a good decision.
Yeah,
And so,
it was good long term for them. It was good in the moment, and it was good long term as well. And I mentioned this before. Right now, my opinion is that right now is not the time for a hard sell. Right, now's the time to be building trust with your consumer base. It's not the time to be taking advantage of the situation. It's not a time to be opportunistic. You have to make sure you're striking the right tone. Like I said before, now's the time to build trust. If you can build trust now with the consumer, there's always time for the hard sell when we come out of this.
good. And then let's say I am an individual, I have a smaller business, I'm a solopreneur, and I just don't have the marketing budget that some of these small to even medium sized businesses have. What would be your advice for me to spend some dollars on social media? What does that layering look like as I come into more finances? What are those steps? What does it look like?
Well, I'll double down on what I said a few minutes ago that if you do it yourself, which is fine. If you do it yourself, you have to invest some money into it. If you're not spending any money on social media, you're wasting your time, or you're wasting the time of the intern that you have doing it, on the side. You're wasting their time because that the reach will not be good, and it's not worth the amount of time that you put into it. So regardless if it's with a company that's handling it for you or doing it on your own, you have to be prepared to invest a little bit of money into it. You can boost posts, you can sponsor posts. Those things are available for the consumer to do. I would recommend that if you are in a position where you have to do it on your own, that you sit down and you map out over the next 3 months what your budget is, just in the same way that if you were working with a company, they would want to know what your monthly budget is. Do it yourself, and then you have to commit to providing that content on a regular basis. That way it's getting out to the people that you need, to see it. Again, things are ever evolving and ever changing, especially in the world today. What happened today is different than what happened yesterday, and it's different than last week. So if you are going to be doing social media on your own, not only do you have to make sure that you're placing the ads correctly and you're spending enough money, and Facebook has all the tools to be able to select the demographics on who you want to target, and their interests and their education level and where they live and all of that. You can do all of that. Not only do you have to spend time mapping that out, but you also have to spend time crafting the content. And oftentimes that can take longer than actually, putting in your credit card number to pay for it, or putting in the radius around a location that you want to target. So you have to commit yourself to that. It's a lot of work to do it effectively. The thing that I hate to see more than anything else is when you have a business that says, okay, we are going to go full throttle on Facebook, and we are going to do a ton of marketing on that, and we're going to spend $1,000 a month on Facebook advertising, on sponsored and boosted posts, and they see no return on that because they didn't target it correctly. They didn't go after the right people. They didn't put the right content in. They didn't type in the right keyword for it to reach the people that they wanted it to reach. There are a lot of really small they seem like minor details, but they're really not, and that can really be keeping your message from getting into the hands of the consumer. So I guess, to make a long story short, if you want to do it on your own, you can, but be prepared to spend a good amount of time and work and effort putting that together.
Excellent. Well, once again, thank you for your time, Tommy. I do really appreciate it. And I know this will be high value for those that do take a look. And yeah, any final words or thoughts?
No, I mean, I think the thing that's most important right now is obviously building trust with the consumer and, making sure that, the folks know that, your customers know we're all in this together. We're going to get through it. We're going to, be there for you when this is all said and done. So that's really the most important thing. I really appreciate the opportunity to present. And just, one more time, if people want to get in touch with me, they can go to ampwichita.com. That's ampwichita.com. You can email me, Tommy at ampwichita.com, and we'd love to talk to you.
Excellent. Thanks again.
Yep.
Blessed night. And God bless you all.
Right. Thanks, Daniel.